Hello, everybody. I'm Jehron Petty, founder and CEO of ColorStack. This is a special limited podcast series to celebrate ColorStack's 5th anniversary, internally known as the Quinquennium, aka the Quinny. In this series, we're talking to some of the people who helped build the foundation of ColorStack. From funders to students to old team members, you'll get a 360-degree view into the work that's powered us and why we're thriving today. Today, I'm joined by former employees Angie Ortiz, Nyasha Francis, and Liana Dominique. Welcome, lovely ladies of ColorStack's past.
Oh, so sad. No,
I loved
that made it sound like we're ghosts.
No,
You kind of are. You kind of
We
are.
are.
Christina would call you guys ghosts.
right. The system's ghost.
The system's ghosts.
Shout out to
Well, it's great to see y'all. Great to be with you. First question is for the audience: what were you doing prior to joining ColorStack? What did you do during your tenure, and what are you up to now? Let's start with Angie. Angie, the
Thank you
OG.
so much. Yeah, the OG. Thank you so much for having me. So prior to ColorStack, well, I started off working as a student. So I was a community manager part-time while in undergrad. As you know, early days ColorStack, kind of setting the tone for what ColorStack was gonna end up being. Then I transitioned once I graduated to a program coordinator role. And then since then, I have been working for schools as an operations manager. And so, yeah, I'm school based, working for a charter school in the Bronx. And yeah, I'm very excited to talk about all things ColorStack.
Great. Thank you.
I'm happy to go next. I'm Liana Dominique. I am so happy to be here. Prior to ColorStack, I was a financial analyst. So I was underwriting, a credit analyst, and I was underwriting loans in Manhattan. And then Jehron approached me to be the partnerships coordinator over at ColorStack, and it was the best decision I ever made. I had an absolute blast in my role, and I'm so excited to dive deeper into that. But now I stand as a sales development representative over at Figma.
Cool.
And last but not least, hi everyone, I am Nyasha Francis. Prior to starting at ColorStack, I was floundering a little bit. I had graduated the summer before with my bachelor's in computer science, and I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do. And I eventually landed at ColorStack as community manager. Loved every second of it. And now I am a community manager at Carrot as part of their Brilliant Black Minds team. Very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us a sliver of your career. All right, so I wanted to break the ice, make sure y'all comfortable by starting out by just giving you a chance to roast me. You all reported to me at some point. What's the most Jehron thing that you observed or had to deal with? I'm gonna try to not cry, but go ahead.
I feel like I gotta kick us off.
Yeah, you gotta
because,
get
I guess like to anyone watching or like anything like that, they already know that like I was a former employee, but I'm also one of your very good friends. So it's just definitely a different experience to see you in that boss mode, CEO mode, and still be able to be like, what? We grew up together. But I think the most Jehron thing and what I hold now in my current career is like, it's so funny, bro. You throw people right into the deep end and you're like, figure out how to swim and come back to me and let me know how you did it. And that's it with every task. So it's like, I'm going to give you my higher level of thinking. You figure out the rest, like the small details, come back to me and I'll let you know if it's good. And that set me up like, I mean, the stress that I had going into every single project of just like trying to figure out, okay, what would he think of? And like literally it became like, what would Jehron do? Like, what would he think of? What would he need to? What would ColorStack need at the time? And it forced me to ask the right questions. But even now, like in Figma, just so much change is happening every single day. And so now it's just like, this is a roasting session, but it's also kind of like a thank you. Because I think I handled change well. Yeah, I think I handled change well because of it, but it definitely was, yeah, to lack of better terms, I was smoking cigarettes every time you assigned me something. Because I'm like, I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm going to have to figure it out and see what happens.
Yeah. No, that was a little too nice for me. So I'm gonna be real for a second. So ColorStack operated remotely, but there were times where, we were in person for conferences and whatnot. And I honestly love a good conference. I love boothing. I love meeting new students and current members and all that stuff. But when it was time to go at the end of the day, when you're tired, you're hungry, your battery is at negative 100, and you're just trying to walk back as a team to the hotel, go to dinner, whatever. I'm walking. You can't even make 1 foot without somebody stopping. Jehron, is that you? Jehron.
Yes.
Whether it was a member, a funder, somebody he, did a program with in the past, like
Literally.
I would just be in the
That's
back,
so
like,
funny.
smiling, like, oh, this is Nyasha community. Like, hello. Hi. I'm just like, bro, can we go? Like, I'm actually gonna kill everybody. Like, let's go now. And like, again, 10 feet we walk. Oh, Jehron. So that was probably the worst part
so
about
funny.
like being with Jehron in person at a professional setting. Like, yeah,
It
He's
hasn't
too famous.
changed.
Oh, I love it.
It literally hasn't changed.
And the
That
thing
tracks.
is, I don't know
Why are you
how
gassing
you
him
do
up?
it though. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's
Like-
boasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I stand by it. This man had me smoking cigarettes. I don't know.
Right,
Like-
right.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. All right, Angie, it's up to you. You either roast or you.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing
True.
to roast you on.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time
It
ago.
was a long time ago. But all I remember, I don't know, Jehron just always had a lot of energy. Like, there was never any downtime, never any, like, Nyasha, you said your battery be on 0. I don't ever recall a moment where Jehron's battery was on 0. Like, never. So, shout out to you. I don't know how you do
That's
it.
funny.
I don't know what you drink top of the morning, but I need the recipe for sure.
That
It's
is funny.
So funny.
I really did think it was gonna go this way, and I'm thankful it did. My God is a good God.
Hello. I do got one more, but I'll save it for later.
Nah, we'll see. Yeah, you can say that over there. You can say that over there.
there.
All right, cool. So, taking us back earlier to the earliest days, and Angie, and I mean for all of you actually, thinking about your introduction to ColorStack. So I'm actually thinking from before you started joining, right? Nyasha, you were a student, and we were on your radar from there. Angie, I'm talking URMC. Liana, I was talking when we just were texting, and I was just telling you about the early days. Like, if you could all, in your own way, talk about like your first impression, your first experiences, like just learning about ColorStack as a concept. Maybe start with Liana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so funny because I tell everyone, like, when you first approach me about it, and not even about the job, but just ColorStack in general, he's like, I'm not taking my Google offer. And I'm like, huh? Like, that was the Haitian immigrant in me, like, what is you doing? Like, you have to go into Google. You're going to Google. And then it starts rolling out, and he just keeps giving me updates of like, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing and it's working out. And all I kept hearing was, it's working out. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, sounds good. You know what I mean? I'm just what were we, like 21 or something like that, 22?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sounds good. I'm in my career right now. He keeps saying all this stuff, saying words I've never even heard of before. So I'm like, bet, no problem. Then all of a sudden we're at my dining room table. I think it was like, I don't even know what it was, maybe 2018 or so, but we're at my dining room table and or maybe a little bit later. And he's like, sorry, timeline was 2021, I would say. We like finally opened things back up. And you're like, yeah, this company gave me a check for $25,000. And I was like, wait a second, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? I'm like, people are giving you money now? What? This is getting serious. He's like, yeah, no, like this is like getting very serious. So even though timeline's messed up, I'm pretty sure it was like very early days of like him just coming to me and telling me what ColorStack as a concept was. And again, like it just took me a really long time to understand it until I came into it and saw it for myself, because everything, when you're on the outskirts, it's just like, oh, this looks cool. A bunch of kids who are really into coding and all that stuff. And that's all you think of. But then as you get into the weeds of it and like being on the other side and actually being able to join the team, it was like, no, you are building an army. Like, you are building an army, and an army that's going to change the world. So it was just so funny going from the outside of like, I have no idea what any of these words are, to now coming in and I'm like, oh, like, are you Python certified and all that stuff? Like now I'm like, yeah, like I've got it down packed because of like this enormous, I guess, community and ship that you built.
Early days, for real. I remember those moments where you were like, I'm proud of you, but I don't understand what you mean.
I literally was like, just keep going and I'll let you know when I understand. Like, because right now I'm not understanding and I might not be the best person to talk about this with. But sounds good.
I remember the Google offer making waves towards like the whole community. Like that was a thing. Like,
Yes.
oh, Jehron is not going to Google, but it's like everyone was expecting Jehron to go to Google.
Yeah.
I would say my introduction to ColorStack was definitely through URMC, which many know the origin story, many know the inspiration from ColorStack did derive from this organization, small organization on campus. I think when Jehron and we both joined at the same time. I was a freshman rep at the time, and Jehron joined as a sophomore rep. And the community was so small. It was strong, small, but mighty. And then once Jehron came on board, Rami came on board, they then went on to become presidents of the club. It just exploded. Like it was just a community built off so much love. Like a lot of people just had a lot of fun and just
Yeah.
gravitated towards the energy of both Jehron and Rami. So I remember once ColorStack was in the works, I think Jehron, we met for lunch at Oak and Shields. For anyone in the audience who may know
No.
of Cornell Dining, I think we were at Oak and Shields or like the
Yeah.
cafe right next to Oak and Shields. But you were just walking me through the idea. You were breaking the news about Google. You were talking about like the plans and how it was gonna come to be, and this is what you were thinking. And I'm just like, okay, like you've always just been so confident. So when you said you were
Yes.
gonna do this nationwide, I was like, yeah, you got it in the bag. I don't know how you was gonna do it, but sure. And I
Yeah.
think it wasn't until months after the fact I'd been speaking with Jehron about how I didn't really have any solidified plans post grad or anything like that. I didn't have like an internship over the summer either, kind of that junior going into my senior year. So that's when I was able to then step into that community manager part-time role, which was very exciting. Lots of headaches and lots of stressitos and lots of
Yes.
a lot, but it was a
Yes.
beautiful experience overall.
And we're gonna get back to the stressful time in that era, Angie. But
Mhm.
Nyasha, what was your intro?
I'll say, I mentioned earlier that I got my degree in computer science. So my first intro was kind of like as a student. My senior year of college, I had a newsletter where I was promoting like different opportunities and stuff for underrepresented like students in tech. And I had been following Jehron on Twitter because of ColorStack. And I remember actually once he DM'd me like, oh, like how can we get ColorStack in your newsletter? And I was like, what is
Oh.
ColorStack really about? And I just like did a deep dive on Google and I tried to read every article possible. Like, is this really a good opportunity for people? Should I be promoting this using my platform and stuff? And we just had that initial conversation. I was like, okay, I could get down with ColorStack. And then I started to encourage all my friends to be in it. Funnily enough, I never actually joined because my relationship with CS was like changing at the time. And I was like, I don't want to be a software engineer. I hate this. But I love, building that community online on with my newsletter and like sending people to ColorStack and stuff. And that was really my first initial taste of community management. And like,
Right.
I remember when Jehron posted about
Mm.
like needing a community manager. I was like, wait, is this what I want to do with my life? And like, since then, me and ColorStack been locked in. So, yeah.
Yo,
I love that.
that's great.
It's so
Oh, go ahead.
crazy. I actually didn't know any of that, Nyasha, which is so like Angie.
Oh,
He's always talked about it, but like I never knew how you found out about ColorStack. I thought you were just a member, and then you ended up coming. So that was just so nice to hear, and that's amazing that you ended up like doing your own research. You said, "Am I really with this?" She had to suss you out, did a whole background check, and I'm glad he checked all the boxes.
No, what's been beautiful about this whole series is how many things I'm even learning about the
Yeah.
people I've been talking to. Because Angie, that conversation I didn't remember the one in Oak and Shields. I remember the other one when we were talking about your internship. I didn't remember that. It's like I'm learning more about the foundation of ColorStack as I'm doing this. Um, but yeah, I appreciate that background. So now going into each era, that I mean, there was some overlap. Mainly, I think Nyasha and Leanne, you guys had the most overlap. But starting with Angie, can you describe your era? Like, what was that like? What was the harder things? What were the fulfilling things? What was going on at the time?
Yeah, I think at the time, because again, Jehron was just so confident. He had the vision, he had the plan. When I came into the role, it was very much, okay, tell me what to do and I'm gonna do it. Like, Angie, do this, Angie, do this, Angie, what do you think about this? Angie, how about this? And it just felt like we would just, at one point it was just me and Jehron, guys. And then
Yeah.
he had this plan again, vision of what he wanted things to look like. Thankfully, Jehron extended a lot of grace. He knew that it wasn't going to be from one day to the next. We did have a really strong start, I would say, because Jehron had already built a community of underrepresented students, you know, in computing. He had this huge network already while just being an undergrad in school. So thankfully, because of his network, the start didn't feel too bad. Like there was a lot of waves, you know, people were interested, people were joining the community, they were joining the Slack, everyone was excited. But what happened was that excitement lasted for such a short period of time that now we had to figure out, okay, how are we sustaining this excitement and how are we building something and thinking ahead of the future and not just like the now. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of pulling teeth at first. So when it came to Slack engagement and members talking to one another, I kind of think about you know, we love some SpongeBob up in here, but you know,
Well, of course.
there's a bunch of people in Patrick's Rock, and he's like, "Who are you people?" I think that's what a lot of members felt like coming in. It's like, okay, I'm coming into the Slack, but I'm not about to send a message first. Like, I don't know y'all for real. So
Right.
it was a lot of bringing together strangers from different places, and it's like, okay, how do we figure out a way for you guys to connect and like talk and just speak?
Wow.
So a lot of ideas were floated around. We tried, you know, hosting different events, and that's when eventually, months later, I think Fan Fridays came to be.
Yes.
You know, bringing people over to Air Meet to kind of like engage with one another, receive different like. We'll have keynote speakers, but then we'll also have like the little discussion tables, I think, where people could talk. It was a lot of early days, so I didn't get the picture perfect machine that I hear of that ColorStack is now. So I was a member. I actually do get the newsletter still. So I need
Oh,
to hop
great.
back into the
Same.
Slack to see what it is now. I'm kind of scared and I will feel a little jealous knowing that, oh, this is what y'all running now. I mean, it's cool. I love it. But yeah, early days, you know, it was a lot of trying different things. But it was a great experience overall.
That's
That's
love.
that's wild. I'm sorry to jump in one more time, but it's literally so wild to hear that, Angie, because like one side came in and John, I don't know if you had any follow-up questions to that or
No,
anything,
go ahead,
but
go ahead.
like it's just wild to hear all of that because like they weren't talking because I feel like once I came in, it was running itself. Like the community was running itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was no if answer, but it was kind of like quiet down. Like we were asking them to like chill out, like no more replies, like take it easy. So for me, I feel like my era was even listening to yours era, it's just so funny and so insane what you went through because then when it came to my era, it was like we were dealing with the growing pains of ColorStack as a company versus ColorStack as a membership and a community. And so like while you dealt with like building up the community and those first couple paths of like Fan Fridays and what it'll look like, for us, I feel like I came in the spot where our team was growing, and so it was moving from 5 to 6 to 7 people, and each person that came on was a new personality and a new person that we had to kind of integrate into the ColorStack system. And even as myself coming in as a new one, it was like I had to learn the history of ColorStack, and then I had to learn what the future was going to look like because Jehron is always talking about the future. So he's always going to be like, you need to know what we're going to be doing in the next 5 years at all times. So it was absolutely insane. But then with the actual like people, it was just learning how to be a proper company, establishing HR, establishing benefits. You know what I mean? Like we're all turning 26 soon. We're gonna need to all have insurance. Like it was just. It was hilarious because it's like these are things that you would think a company already has, but it's like you put so much effort. You and Jehron put so much effort on the community side that it was running itself. So when it came back to it, it's like now, as Christina calls it, like we were just thinking about the system. Like when I was in there, it was just, are we going to get along? Let's make sure that we have the best working environment. Like let's make sure that everybody's on task. So that was I think foundational in like ColorStack's I want to say like the corporate part of it all, even though we're a nonprofit.
Yeah, no, for real. And actually, I know we brought up Christina a couple of times. Angie, did you catch Christina or no?
I caught Christina,
Okay.
yes. I think I was in 2 sessions maybe with Christina, but that's all, yeah.
Got it. Okay, so for the audience, Christina is our amazing, people call her our group therapist. She's our group coach, team coach. Monthly sessions with her have been great.
One of the best, truly. And even like implementing that was hilarious because it was just like we were, free for all, just talking to each other, talking to Jehron and like trying to figure out the dynamic of everything. And then Christina came in and really like solidified like what the system was and how we were able to identify, what things were personally versus what things were just ColorStack. And that was really helpful in, like we said in the beginning, just identifying our ghosts and things that were still there from the past that we hadn't really talked about. So it really created this environment for the employees to feel safe even right after the community felt really safe to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. And like going back to what Angie said, because I feel like we have a special connection, like community manager to community manager. Like I can't even imagine a world where like Fam Friday did not exist.
Right.
Like when I came into ColorStack, it was like, yeah, we have this monthly event. We have this many people going every month. Like, you need to be promoting this event in Slack and in the newsletter. And I'm like, okay, Fan Friday. But like, you were there when y'all were like ideating what Fan Friday even, became, and I feel like so much of what I was doing at ColorStack was just building off of like the foundations and processes that Angie created. So like, thank you for like, even, you were onboarding people like one-on-one. And when I joined ColorStack, I was leading 3 onboarding sessions every day of like 10 people. And like my era of ColorStack, I just felt like, right, like scaling up was like the thing we were talking about every day. Like, how can we scale this? How can we scale that? Because when I joined, I feel like the community was at like 3,000-4,000. And by the time I left and just like 18 months later, we were approaching the 10K mark. And there was still only one community manager. So it was like, how can we be building, scaling and growth? And I swear I was so annoyed of hearing about growth and scaling every day. I wanted to choke Jehron many times, but he was our fearless leader. So thank you.
Fearless is crazy. I don't know.
Oh my god! It's so funny. I tweeted once. Nobody should ever call me a fearless leader because I'm scared of bugs. Imagine that.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it's so funny to see where y'all, like the different eras where y'all came in, and like, I'm happy that y'all are hearing, especially from Angie too now, like those early days of like what it really took to get to even something like a Fam Friday, like the amount of iterations it took, and even at the later stages, we still moved quickly and changed things, but nothing was as fast as those first 2 years, right? Nothing failed as much as it did in the first 2 years. I mean, we didn't even get to like talking about Sprout and career camp and some of the fellowships and things like that. So yeah, it's beautiful to hear kind of where everybody came in. Kind of similarly with your eras, what if there was like this ultimate moment for you, whether it was a good moment, a bad moment, or just like a funny moment, like what's like the most memorable thing during your time?
That's a good question.
I have so many. I think the worst.
You could do more than one. You can do more than one. Yeah.
I'm thinking about so I was doing an onboarding, but at this point it was so deep into onboarding. Like I loved onboarding students because you get to hear their story, you kind of get to pitch ColorStack. And I almost felt like I was pitching it in a different way every single time because there were just so many good things to speak on about the community. Yeah. But it did get to a point where it was like, all right, onboarding a lot of people, multiple times a day. So I remember like hopping into this meeting right after lunch, and then I start the meeting and I looked insane. Like my hair was not done. Like my hair was all over the place. I think I still had some like crust near my eye. Like it was bad. So I was just like, wow. It was kind of my I love you onboarding, but I'm kind of down bad right now. So I'm just thinking about that moment because I literally have a picture on my phone of how I look, and I had asked a member. I'm like, "Do you mind if I take a picture of us right now?" He was like,
"Yo, you got to send that in our group chat. You got to send that in our group chat. I need to see that." Oh my gosh,
that is mad funny. Honestly, Angie, like you did a lot with the students, and Nyasha, you did too. But gosh. I feel like I was so removed from sometimes the students that I was so on the partner side. But I'm not going to hold you. I had many moments like that too. Like when I think back, to how many like meetings I had a week just saying the same spiel over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, I have so many memories, but like, you're asking for the best ones, right? Just to make sure, because I'm like,
no, either way, best,
just,
worst, funniest, whatever.
I'm telling you, there were so many meetings with partners that I would literally walk away and be like, thank God these aren't recorded at the time, because I'm not joking, bro. There were so many meetings where, especially in the beginning, because again, like I mentioned, Jehron loves to throw you in on the deep end first. So he would just throw me into a partnership meeting and I would blank out. And I'm like, and they'd be like, yes, so tell me a little bit more about ColorStack. What is it? And I'm like, you tell me. Like, you tell me what you want, and I'll and I'll let you know if that sounds right. Like, it was just a lot of figuring stuff out, the way that you wanted to say things. But I think the best, like, there's no one memory, but I feel like the overall feeling that I got was, I mean, a testament to it all is just like the work that we were doing and everything that I was doing is the fact that I'm still friends with some partners today. Like, I'd get on each call and it's like, we got past, especially those, the recurring partners like Duolingo and Jane Street. It got to a point where this partnership was no longer just ColorStack, and partnerships coordinator. It was like the person of contact and Liana. Like, we were friends at the end of the day. We were meeting each other outside of each meetings and like planning hangouts and stuff like that. Like, it was so much more than just ColorStack, and it built a network outside of itself that I don't even think you originally planned for, which was so incredible to see. So like, all of my memories come from like meeting up with partners at I think it was at Jane Street, going there and meeting a bunch of like educators, and I was the only partnerships coordinator in the room, but it was so amazing to see them like in person, or even going down to Florida. I think it was, I forgot which conference we were at, but Duolingo had an event and me and Nyasha are in that place. Like, I don't even know what that place was, but like, it was just this dome. Oh, Grace Hopper. There we go. Yeah, we're at Grace Hopper and we're just living our best lives with these partners. And I'm like, I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm not even at work right now. Like, it was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But it's just a testament to like how close you get as you with the people, with the partners and the community as you are on these calls and like really building these relationships.
Totally.
Yeah, honestly, similarly, like it really is hard to think about one standout moment, because now that I'm removed from ColorStack, like as an employee, it's like you really miss the day-to-day stuff that like is so regular. Like me making announcements, I'm not gonna lie, when I get notifications on my phone to this day and I see Jennifer, the current community manager, making an announcement, I'm like, I used to be me, man. Like, I didn't know I missed it so much. Like, now I go to my announcements channel, it's like, you don't have the authority to make an announcement. I'm like, authority, like,
let me in.
It really is crazy, like how much the day to day is just like, it makes your whole like experience. And man, like I really do miss it, because the community is still vibrant, it is still thriving, and I just love all the members and the super users and everything. Like, yeah, no standout moments, it's everything, honestly.
No, I believe it. There was a lot. There was definitely a lot.
There was.
Yeah.
I got some more to name if we want to go down
go ahead.
early.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm thinking about so just for context, I have terrible memory, but some things are coming back as we talk.
Right.
I'm thinking about like brainstorming sessions. So I remember Stacked Up Summit, when we came together to discuss the name of what the summit was gonna be. Like, that was really exciting. Because once we locked in Stacked Up, it was like, oh, that it. Like, it was just like, oh, we did that. Like, that was a really exciting meeting. I'm thinking about like a lot of like the rebranding and the logos in the early days. The one that stuck with me, there was a logo that looked like the Shake Shack logo, and I'm like, we can't do that. That is like a burger. Like, what that got to do with that? No sense. Yeah, a lot of like the team moments. So, it was a remote job. So the times that we did get to come together, especially post-COVID, I think that was it was a beautiful time every time we linked up. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Angie, I remember too, one of the, because we did way more virtual, we do virtual social stuff now, but remember that cooking, the virtual cooking class we did?
That was so cool. That was cool. Like the team builder one.
Yep. That was cool.
Exciting.
Yeah, when I think of my more memories are coming back now, even like Amanda Seals at
like, I love
how we just ignore that. Like that was a huge flex.
Yeah.
Jehron beatboxing when the technical difficulties went wrong. Yo, and we all had to. Dayo had to come back, and he started rapping in the middle in the intermission just to keep everyone online. Like moments like that where it's just like real scrappy stuff, man. Like it was hilarious. But also thinking to myself, like something I miss now 110% is like our all hands, like our Monday all hands. Something I never take for granted is just like being in a space where like our CEO is showing up. I mean, you never actually did it, but you always said like you would, showing up in a bonnet and like you being able to, you know, come into those meetings with like crust in your eye and all that stuff. And it's like, it was just so raw and real. Like, what are you guys up to? And it's like, girl, I'm fighting for my life, but we're going to keep going. Like, we're going to keep doing it. But it was also just nice to like really be connected because I feel like all hands started to move around and I think it was Monday and then Friday, but like even the weekend updates, I was always in everybody's business. Like, what y'all doing this weekend? Like, what's good? Like, I was really invested in everyone. So just so many moments where it was like those team bonding. And then my last one for sure is just like, it sucks, but unfortunately I knew it was going to be my last offsite. And so my last offsite. So I really tried to make the most of it in every second. And it was just so amazing to see like what we had created and what I've been a part of. And just like that last offsite in New Orleans was so, incredible for me to just look back at all the work and just see how beautiful it was. Cause like, wow, we came so far and everyone's here. And I feel like we were at the peak of our existence right there in New Orleans. So it was absolutely amazing to see. And like knowing that I was about to leave was just like, it's done.
Y'all are, I mean, the fact that we even on this episode, like y'all definitely left your mark in different ways that are either explicit, like, we can remember in all hands, like Liana would say, like everybody would make fun of the fact that if there's nobody talking about going to brunch or having anything, it's like, damn, we need Liana here because like we too boring, right? And like a lot of these people, I'm actually upset that they didn't get to meet you, Angie, but like Caleb being here for so long, like me and him will have our little side references back to the early days and back to your time, you know, leading Fan Fridays in the community and stuff like that. So it's good to like have each one of you together on this because y'all literally help build the culture inside community and within the staff, within the team.
I love it.
Yeah, y'all are great.
It's a testament to your leadership, though. I will hand it to you. Like thinking, even when Liana, when you said, "Oh yeah, he was just 21 years old," you were 21 years old, establishing and creating this community, and literally, I can't even imagine.
That's why. Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say that's why every time like we try to roast you or we try to like say what we're trying to, it always comes back to like I think we are all super empathetic people, and also we understand like, yo, we were dead 22, like like Nyasha was even younger, like babies, like how can we fault you for the mistakes or anything that were happening or even ColorStack in general, because like we were all doing this for the first time. I think every single person that had come into the role at the time that I was there, it was their first time ever doing something and that was like, again, we can't even be too mad about what's happening because it's the first time you're being a CEO, first time us in our role, so it's like nobody knows what they're doing, but we are doing it.
Nobody knew what they were doing, but somehow Jehron knew what he was doing. Like he just
he just knew a little bit more than all of us.
I don't know how.
I just said it a little more confidently.
Right. Yes. And to this day, that's my issue. Like all my friends are like, bro, you need to get away from me because I say things with so much confidence, and it's literally like Jehron would say all the time. He'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like I remember my first year there, he literally turned to me and was like, yeah, we're doing an in-person what you want, Stacked Up Summit, like that's the goal. And now the Stacked Up Summit is like paid for. What we doing this year, like it's crazy. I'm just like, well, how did you said it so confidently, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And now it's really coming to life.
You just gotta say things with your chest, man. Figure it out later.
And I learned to.
Funny. No, that's beautiful. I like we could probably. There's probably a day where we'll all just get together and talk about even 100 more stories because I feel like there's so many. There's so many more. But what I think is interesting too about like all of your journeys transitioning from ColorStack to the following role was that there was a little bit of like there's kind of always a tie back, right, to what you were doing, what you learned, and what you're doing now. I think Nyasha, you have like the most kind of clear one-to-one, like what you were doing before to what you're doing now. But for everybody, how did your time at ColorStack prepare you for what you're doing now and kind of what you want to accomplish in this season of your career? Nyasha, we can start with you.
Yeah, again, I graduated college and I just didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. I grew up my whole life, I thought I wanted to be a software engineer, and then stumbling into ColorStack, finding community management, learning the ins and outs of what it really means to run a community, to grow a community, to be in a community professionally. It blew my mind, honestly. And even having the tie-in with Rami and him building out software for the community and seeing how tech can help communities, grow engagement and all of that. I'm taking that
Yeah.
I took it with me to my current job, and I reference ColorStack every day. I'm sure they're tired of hearing about ColorStack. They're like, all right, you're here. This is not ColorStack. And I'm like, I don't care. Y'all need to be like ColorStack. ColorStack is doing this. I did this for ColorStack. Yeah. And I feel like as I, grow professionally, I will always think about the excitement and joy I had at ColorStack, figuring out what I was doing in my career. Because most days it honestly didn't feel like work. Most days I was just like, this is what I'm meant to do. It felt like my passion. It felt like I was having fun with my friends. And yeah, I miss it because not, my team is cool now, but it's not ColorStack. I'm just over here Gen Z energy, community. And they're like, okay. But yeah, I'm that energy and continue to, upskill and everything. And yeah.
100%. Yeah, I feel like for me in my role now too, it's so funny, Naisha, you talking about the Gen Z energy, because I feel like I have so much Gen Z energy, but then it's also now being in a corporate space, it's just how do I find the balance? Whereas ColorStack, it was, I think I was learning that at ColorStack, but it was so much, it was embraced so much more in the culture because we were all just young, just figuring out, like I said before. But in my role now, I'd say in the sales process, the biggest thing I tell people, and something I said in my interview was just on the partnership side, I was selling a dream. I was going to every single partner and I was selling a dream. And now in my role, I'm doing the same selling, but now I'm selling a product. So not much has changed for me except what I'm selling, but the sentiments are the same, the way that I go about it. And I think what this job currently that I'm at Figma, what it's done for me is giving me the foundational purposes of the sales process and wholly owning it. But what ColorStack did for me as a partnership manager, being in that front facing role to all of our partners, that gave me a level of humanness, I guess, and just being able to talk to people. It gave me a level of just confidence when walking into a room and being able to demand certain things or negotiate certain things or talk about certain things. I can talk to people about the hard things and not have be an uncomfortable conversation because of ColorStack, because it was so we were just figuring things out, and I had to tell people in the moment, I don't know. In this moment, I don't know, but I'm gonna go back. And that's been such a vital point to me now in my sales process when I'm in front of these customers and they're asking me for these hella technical questions that I don't know, because Figma is a design company and I'm selling a real product. They're telling me, where's the data? And I'm just now for me, it's kind of I can say confidently, I don't know. I'm not making anything up. And the biggest thing I hear from a lot of my customers is just you're really real with us. It's really raw. And that's the way that I approach it with partnerships and ColorStack. And it's the same thing that's carried over to my sales career now. And I think what's going to take me to what I've been told so far, the next level of just being able to speak in front of people, which is such a lost thing, apparently.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think similar to you, Leanna, that rawness aspect, I definitely nurtured that while I was at ColorStack, and it's just stuck with me ever since. Being on the people side of ColorStack operations meant having to listen to a lot of stories, having to take in a lot of feedback, implementing that feedback, and then just kind of understanding the why behind a lot of things, and then also understanding the impact. So, if we do this, student A will feel this way and will feel better in class and will feel better in their summer internship. So I think that's something that I've carried in all of my roles, because I transitioned over to school-based operations. When I'm servicing students, when I'm servicing families, I want to make them feel seen and heard. So it doesn't matter if I'm in a room with 30 families, every single family will walk away feeling like, oh yeah, Miss Ortiz, that's what they call me, in school.
Oh.
They'll be like, Miss Ortiz, heard me out. Or like, oh, thank you so much, Miss Ortiz. Like, because they felt that rawness, they felt like they were seen at that point in time. And sometimes, ColorStack could have very well been a place where, okay, we have this newsletter with opportunities and here's this Slack where you guys can talk to each other, go. But I think what set it apart from every other community is the fact that there's that authenticity to ColorStack. Like, it feels like home. And so that's the same energy that I wanted to bring into every single role that I stepped in. And it's just left a lasting impact ever since. And yeah, I'm grateful to ColorStack for teaching me, how imperative it is to have that community and have that relationship with everyone.
That's so beautiful to hear.
I'm about to cry. No, because it's like I really came on here thinking that I was about to roast you and the roast ColorStack.
I was ready. I was ready.
But it's like, it's so beautiful to see like everyone shares the same sentiments of like, this was the best decision we made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it catapulted us so much further in our careers. Even till now, when I mention ColorStack, it's just like, it still opens so many eyes and so many doors for me still because I said I worked there. So it's wild to think that like having something like this on my resume holds the same weight as like, if you went to Google, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
And I'll say too, sorry, one more little add-in. As somebody who like still works in this like DEI tech space that like ColorStack lives in, y'all, ColorStack name like rings bells. Like it like the people that I've met while working at ColorStack, like our corporate, funders or like philanthropic funders, like I'm still speaking to those people like at my current job. And when I was like interviewing and I like brought up ColorStack and they saw ColorStack on my resume, they're like, oh, like teach us your ways. Like, how did you do this? I'm telling you, like verbatim, I've heard people at other organizations, I'm not gonna name drop, but they're like, yeah, like we look at ColorStack's Instagram because we need inspiration, and we look at ColorStack's this and we look at ColorStack's that. Like, ColorStack, and I'm like, wow, if y'all pay me, I'll teach you how.
Hey, just give me like 5% of that cut. Just give me 5%.
Right.
No, that's real.
That's so funny because I think about how like when we were coming up, like it was a lot of looking to others and seeing what they're doing and kind of getting that inspiration. So now being on the flip side and people get to say ColorStack is that inspiration. I mean, that's a flex.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's so funny. I mean, I have a comment on just like y'all careers and how beautiful that is, but even that point, it's so funny to hear that because I still look at other people's inspiration. I'm still like, we gotta be like that. We gotta be like that. We gotta be like that. Like I post on our marketing channel, other people's posts all the time. I'm like, can we do this now? It's so funny. It's so but you know me, like I never settle. Like I'm just like, bro, we just gotta keep being better and keep up in the bar. But what I think is beautiful, I don't know if at what points I said this, but I feel like at points along the journey, I always said something to the effect of like, I think Nyasha actually asked me this at the first retreat when you joined. You were like, within two weeks of joining ColorStack, you were like, yeah, how long do you think I should stay here, or something to the effect of that. And I, shared my philosophy, which is that, especially with nonprofit, especially for women of color, I felt like you should not view this as like a career long thing. Use this to catapult you to that next step. My goal is people come through for 2 years, 3 years and say, this helped you learn these skills, do these things, or even just like take a breath. Because a lot of the kind of more seasoned, mature folks that join our team, they've been in scenarios and teams where they're dealing with microaggressions, all this stuff. So at least coming for a little halftime with ColorStack of just like to be in a safe space where you could be authentic self, don't have to deal with that stuff. But then I kind of want you going back out. I want you to do the next bigger thing. That's always been my philosophy. And so to even just hear that, like, just a name on the resume or however you guys are using that is helping you get into rooms and grow your career. I mean, that fulfilling our mission is important to me, but also for people that come through and work for us, like that is also important to me and fulfilling. So I'm so happy to hear that. Cool. Well, our last question, here. We're 5 years in. You all are coming to the 5th anniversary, so see y'all there. We getting lit. It's gonna be fun. What's one thing looking 5 years out to the 10 year of ColorStack, or 20, 30, like just as far out as you can think? What is one thing that you hope that the ColorStack, you can even think about it from the team or the community perspective, the one thing that you don't want ColorStack to lose? Like if anything else goes to the ground, like this one thing you wish that we would keep.
I feel like we'll all have a similar answer, but it's the community. I think the community is the meat and potatoes of ColorStack through and through. Like, that's something that you truly cannot find anywhere else. The engagement, the vibes, the people, like, still being friends with some of the members to this day, having them. Omar just came for lunch at Figma the other day. For real,
Omar's never gonna leave y'all alone.
You know what I mean? Like, Rahik is coming soon, like, being able to really turn back. And, like, again, it's the same way of just, like, I didn't just work here. Like, I was a part of something. And it's the same way of with the community, where it's like, I hope you guys never lose the spunk that's in the community. I hope you always have 500 replies to every single thing that someone replied, that someone posts in the chat. And I feel like, I really hope that, like, self-sufficiency within the community continues to go, because that means that there's always going to be people who care that much to say something.
Love that.
I have a similar answer, but more so from like the team's perspective. I hope ColorStack never loses the community first mindset. I feel like the team always keeping the community in mind first and never like betraying the community is what makes the community so strong and authentic. And I feel like, especially in this current, like, climate of not really knowing like how to proceed with mission statements and like the work that nonprofits do, it's really important to keep the community in mind, keep their interests. Obviously funders matter, right? Nonprofits need money to operate, but like, what are we doing with the money? Like, why are we getting the money? It's for the community. So just keep that energy in. ColorStack to the moon,
ColorStack to the moon.
Yeah, I can't really top that. I think I have the same sentiments. I think it's always been the spunk of the community, the vibes of the team. There's just something about ColorStack that I don't think anyone can really pinpoint it to one specific thing. It's just the flow of everything just comes together so nicely. So I just hope that continues to carry on 10, 20, 50 years from now. I want to see Jehron
That's it.
with gray hair, leading the 30-year anniversary podcast.
Yes.
I think, ColorStack has just been on an up and up. And there's no coming back down anytime soon. So
literally, it's only up from here.
Only up from here.
Only up. Well, y'all, this is a beautiful conversation. I wish it could have been 3 hours, to be honest. There's so many more stories, so many more questions I wanted to get to.
So much more to say.
But we have 4 hours to yap at the celebration, so that'll be great. Love you guys. Appreciate all that you've done for the community and all that you continue to do and support us. Thanks so much for the time today, and thanks so much for your continued support.
Absolutely.
Love you. Love y'all.
All right. That's it for today's episode of our special limited podcast series celebrating 5 years of impact, community, and growth at ColorStack. If you like what you heard, let us know and stay tuned for the next episode.